home and supplement to your studio training. This routine has 14 stretches total for a full body experience. Please make sure that you're warm before you start any sort of stretching activity. I've included a warm-up in this video. It's 10 jumping jacks and 2 8 counts of high knees in a box, and you'll repeat it 4 times total. It's really important that you're warm before you start any sort of stretching to prevent injury, make sure that you're safe when you're stretching at home, and to just get the full benefits out of the stretching routine. If you don't understand something in the video or a stretch is new to you, please reach out to your teacher or to me. We're here to help you in any way that we can. There's no limit to the amount of time that you can stretch, so if you need to pause the video and take a few extra seconds in a stretch and then continue on to the next exercise, absolutely do that. I would hold each stretch for a minimum of 30 to 60 seconds, so you're really getting a full stretch and you're getting the results that you want. I think that's everything. Let's stretch, you guys. Let's do it. 5, 6, 7, 8. High knees. And face this side. High knees. And face the back. High knees. Face the side. High knees. And face the front, you're done. So this is the first stretch in the stretch routine. This is our right lunge. There's no limit to how long you can stretch or hold a stretch, so hold it for as long as you need to. Minimum at least 30 seconds though. While she's in the stretch, she's really thinking about stretching her back leg all the way out and making sure there's a 90-degree angle from her ankle to her knee. She's pressing her chest down and her knee is fully in her armpit here. Now a variation on this stretch, if you're feeling really solid in this one, you can put your elbows on the floor. Yep, and you can still keep this knee lifted and really stretch the back of this leg through the heel. Another variation is to drop this knee, keep your elbows on the floor. It gives you a little bit deeper of a hip flexor stretch here. And then the last variation on this is to lift up and grab your foot behind you. This is a more advanced stretch. In this stretch, we're keeping our hips pressed down and we're going on top of our knee. So we're not going right on the kneecap, we're going on that soft, fleshy part right above our knee. Okay, this is what we call the straddle stretch or pancake stretch. In this stretch, you don't have to open your legs as wide as you can go on the first stride. You can slowly open your legs a little bit more as you feel more stretch and more flexibility. We're keeping our knees rotated back, our toes nice and stretched from the hip joints, and we're keeping our legs and our pinky toes fully rotated. When she's in this stretch, she's gonna reach her arms out and up to her head, yep, all the way up, and then lengthen her body out to the floor so she goes completely flat. Now you can hold this for as long as you need to. If you can't fully reach the floor with your belly button, that's totally fine. You can come up a little bit. Rebecca, will you show us elbows, please? You can go to your elbows. Even if you're not quite here yet, you can still reach with your hands and still feel the stretch all the way through your hips. As long as you feel a stretch, it's totally fine. Don't feel like you have to force yourself all the way down. Okay, this next stretch is the second plie stretch. She's gonna start in a second position, turned down. Our tummy is tucked, tightened, our tailbone is slightly pulled under, and we're engaging that lower abdominal right under our belly button. She's gonna lift her arms to second and slowly plie through all the way down to her second position, fully rotating her knees back using those muscles and tucking her tailbone. You can put your hands on your knees and feel a nice stretch here. You can kind of give your legs a gentle push with your hands. If you need more of a stretch, you can drop down to your elbows and really still thinking about rotating those hips under and pulling your heels forward. Okay, this next stretch is the hamstring pike. A lot of people call it different things, but that's just what I've known it as. In this shape, we're going to put our legs straight out in front of us together on the floor. You're gonna point your feet so your legs are really stretching from your hip sockets. Your arms are gonna go up by your ears, engaging this core, yep, and shoulders pressed down. In this stretch, I don't want you to just fold and curve, because then you create this arch or this like roundedness in your back. I I want you to think about pulling up as you go forward. Exactly. Trying to get your chest on your thighs, you can grab your feet and pull yourself closer using your arms. As long as you're not sickling your feet or rounding your back too much, you're gonna be okay in this shape. Once you've sat here for a few minutes and you feel nice and stretched, you can then flex your feet, grab your toes, press your shoulders down and get a complete flat back. It's gonna give you more of a hamstring and a calf stretch than just your hamstrings. If you're not all the way down or not able to reach your toes, again, don't panic, it's totally fine. Flexibility is something that needs repetition, so the more you do these stretches, the more flexible you're going to be. There is no limit to your flexibility if you continue to stretch. So this is our right split. Most of us know what a right split is, but I'm just going to talk about a few things that will help you get your split a little faster. When you're in your split, if you're not all the way down, it's totally fine. Just make sure your front leg is a straight leg. Your back leg can be slightly bent. So do you want to show us the variation of the bent leg, Rebecca? So if you're like this, that is totally okay because you're still going to get that hamstring stretch under here and you're getting that hip flexor action coming forward. Go ahead and drop down all the way. When you're in this split, if you're all the way down, I really want you to focus on pulling this left hip forward and your right hip back to counteract that action so your hips are really square to this wall. If you're all the way down, you can put your arms in a T and hold it and really think about using those muscles to rotate that hip forward. Okay, this is the middle split. Some people call it different things, but we call it the middle split. As you can see, Rebecca's not all the way down, which is totally fine. You still feel a stretch. Okay, as long as you feel a stretch, you do not have to flatten yourself out. She's actually pretty flexible, but some people's hips are just built differently and you're not gonna go all the way down as fast as others. In this stretch, however, you wanna make sure your legs are in alignment with your hips and your toes are pointed and you're really stretching out from your legs. Okay, this is the right over split. Rebecca's going to show us how to gracefully try and get into this because sometimes it's a little funky. So we're going to place our right leg turned down on our block and you're going to put your hands on either side and then just rotate that left hip back so you're in this stretch. Now if you're not feeling it, Rebecca, do you feel much of anything? Not really. She has really good hamstring flexibility. So as you get more flexible, you can stack a few more blocks. It gives you a little bit more of a push. But don't do this if you're not all the way down in your right split flat on the floor. That's when you progress. You keep adding blocks onto that. In this stretch, we're thinking about pressing our hips forward, pressing them down, and lengthening through this back leg and pressing our shoulders down as well. Okay, so we're going to do our middle over split. Since Rebecca is not all the way down in her middle split yet, which is totally fine, we're going to use one block instead of two. If you're all the way down, you can use two blocks and completely flatten out like a pancake and put one foot on each side. But we're only going to use one block for this demonstration. So she's going to put her hands on the floor, her foot's already on the block. We're stretching through our legs. You're going to go to your elbows and you're just going to hold it. And make sure you breathe. Breathing is so important in your stretching and your flexibility.